Well, hey everybody, I'm the Crockett Cooner, and this is the Crockett Coonhound Show, and you have made it to the Fireside Chats with the old Cooner here. It's December the 16th, 2024, and I have got a great Fireside Chat for you folks. I am so excited about this one. Now, for everybody that has followed us on some of our other projects, for those of you that follow us here at the Crockett Coonhound Show, you know I did a little talking on some yard inflatables for the holidays, how to repair them and things. And I had mentioned in one of the videos that I had a fireside chat coming up that I was excited about, because we were going to talk about what I named this particular video, and I call it Monster Bears. Guys, I've got to give you a little backstory. I'm going to show you a picture right here. Let me insert it. Take a look at that big boy. Now, the old Cooner here, in my pursuit of outdoor things and outdoor activities, I walked into the Ace Hardware. Now, here where I'm located in southern Middle Tennessee, we did not have an Ace Hardware. We just got it. It's a brand new store. I mean, the grass has not even set in good around the store, okay? It's about 2 weeks old. I trolled up in there, guys. I was, in fact, looking for some LED bulbs for the inflatables, and I had to do a little stuff there with some polyurethane spray, and when I walked in, I saw that big monster grizzly bear standing there, and my cup of bear hunting overrunneth, guys, because a lot of folks don't know this. Now, the old Cooner here, if it pretty well runs, swims, slithers, hops, I have in times pursued this, is wild game. But there's one thing I've never done, guys, and I've always wanted to. I'm going to give everybody that follows me a little personal story here. When I was a young man, my father had bought me a very nice utensil, I'll put it that way, for hunting. And guys, over the time, it just wore out on me. Took it to a professional. This gentleman took it apart, cleaned it and everything, and he said, listen, Cooner, you're going to have to definitely have some parts and things put in. And I thought, no. And if you knew my father, guys, he was an outdoorsman too, especially in his young days. He asked me, he said, why do you keep that piece of junk? I got it at a good deal. Buy you something good, son. Well, right then and there, guys, I have, in fact, in times past, when it comes to white-tailed deer, I have taken a bunch of them. Now, and for our area, a couple nice ones, you know. But years ago, guys, I made it up in my mind, before the old Cooner here leaves this earth, I will, in fact, go to Alaska, and I'm going to find me one of those, right? I'm going to go on one of those big guided trips, guys. Now, when I walked in the Ace Hardware the other day, I just stopped. My jaw dropped to the floor. I saw this big boy standing there. I just, you know, and it has the sign, do not touch. I was wanting to reach over there so bad, guys. Right, just put my hands on him. Big trophy like that. Well, this real nice gentleman walks up to me. He says, can I help you? And I said, yes, sir. I am looking for some light bulbs. I'm looking for some spray here. And I start telling him that we have the websites, that's what myself and Scooter do, and I do a lot of outdoors things, and his eyes kind of perked up. Well, he helps me throughout the store, and he looks at me serious. We're stopped right there, and I said, this is the first time I've ever been in this Ace Hardware. It's new to our area. Now, I've been in other ones. I'd like to look around. And he stopped me. He said, do you like the outdoors? Do you like hunting and things? I saw you looking at my bear. Well, now, guys, when I first heard this, I took it as his bear. You know, he was like the store manager or something, and, you know, they had brought this in as some type of display. And I said, your bear? I said, well, I wonder where he came from. Ah, this gentleman stops, and he goes, I can tell you exactly where he came from when I took him down. He was in, now I hope I say this name right. I'm going to put you another picture in here, guys. Is that Illinois, Alaska? Is that how that's pronounced? I'm not sure. Some of my folks from Alaska, some of my bear hunters are going to have to correct me on the terms. Even the old Cooner here is new to this one. But I said, you got him. And he goes, I sure did, buddy. He told me that he was originally from Minnesota and things. And he told me that that big old bear did, in fact, score, I believe it was 2008, if I'm not mistaken, is what he said, on Boone and Crockett. And for my folks that love bears and trophy types of animals and things like that, if I'm not mistaken, guys, and I've got the terminology correct, he said he's a perfect 10 by 10 and was speculated to weigh about 1,200 pounds. And we went into a very detailed conversation about the Alaskan wilderness. Now, the old cooner here didn't know this, so I'm going to carry this on with you guys a little bit. So I asked this gentleman, his name was Michael, and I said, Mike, let me ask you something. Can you tell me about this hunt that you went on? I mean, it must just have been phenomenal. And he said, oh, it was, buddy. He said, I've been there a few times and everything, and I had mentioned that I had called up to Alaska before, spoken with some guide services about the regulations on your licenses and things you would need and what to expect and all of this. But this gentleman, here it is in southern Middle Tennessee, of all places, folks, we don't have monster grizzly bear here. He proceeds to tell me the weaponry that he used to take this beast down, and that it had in fact eaten 2 young grizzly bear cubs to put the female bear back into estrus, and that he had snuck up on this big monster bear. And he said, for those of you that follow weaponry and things, he did in fact use a 325. And when he flipped her up there to go time, this big bear stood up and he battled with the beast, folks. Now, that's one of those things, guys, that the old cooner here is just going to do. But I found out something else quite interesting, because I had to pick this man's brain. And we found out right then and there that day that 2 outdoorsmen met. And I've got to say, this gentleman here, yep, he's done a lot more of it than the old cooner. But now, I had to ask, for those folks that are outdoor people, folks that are resourceful, all of you that, live by, if we go to harvest any kind of animal, could we eat it? Could we do whatever? And this gentleman told me something quite interesting, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks in Alaska that knew this. If you are in a certain area there west of Alaska, well, the bears, the Alaskan Game and Fish, did in fact say, well, or at that time they did, when this bear was harvested, that you can't eat them because of what the bears have been eating. But it's good to control their numbers and things. But if you were to the other side of Alaska, it is in fact possible to have the meat from this bear, or a bear like it. But as we talked a little bit, we made our way there, guys, back to the front of the Ace Hardware. And I asked this gentleman, I said, sir, I'd like to have a picture of your bear. I would like to talk about it on the Fireside Chats, because it is truly something to behold. I know the photograph, guys, doesn't do it justice. And he said, do you want me to get a picture of you in front of my bear? I said, I would love this. So I stood over there, guys, and I know, through cell phones, sometimes the scaling is off, but just look right here, guys. Look at the massive size of that animal. I mean, definitely what all the folks from Alaska play with right there. Now, it was something to behold. And I'm telling you guys, for anybody out there that's much like myself here, like the old cooner, that's just one thing I've never done. I've never been to the Alaskan wilderness for such a beast. But now this story gets even better, guys. So as we were standing there talking, and this gentleman was trying to get back to work because he was working there at the Ace Hardware, I got to speaking with him. He said, now, Cooner, you did say hunting dogs, you used to handle them professionally and things. I said, yes, 4 people, and now I have my own, but we're into the X breed. I made some small talk. And this gentleman told me the neatest thing. Now, guys, I'm not sure exactly on the years, but it was some time ago. He said when he was a kid, he was the fellow who night championed out one of the big names in the Walker Hound world for a gentleman out in Oklahoma. If I have that correct, he did that, and he said every time he walked in the woods with this particular hound that he knew that he was going to do something. And we struck up a little conversation, and he said, Cooner, you may think it's a little bit odd, but I'm going from big predatory type of animals back to beagle hounds and coon hounds. I'd like to go back to my roots. I'd kind of like to go back to where I came from as a young person to hunt and fish. And then he said, I've moved here to your area. Would you care if we went with you one night? And I said, no, buddy, by all means. I'd definitely like to take you in the woods with my hounds and show them to you. And he did give me some information on some guiding services there in Alaska and what to expect. But now, this story even gets better, guys. Now, for a lot of folks that like to follow a lot of our outdoor wildlife and the size of the animals and things and the health of them, because that's a lot of what hunting and fishing is all about, is to keep these things managed. Our biologists and things throughout the U.S. and the world, they, always say that hunting helps. These practices help with lots of things. I mentioned my 6-point. A few folks have seen him before on video. And this gentleman didn't want to offend me, guys, but he looked at me and he smiled real big and he said, well, Cooner, do you guys not have them any bigger than that down here? I said, nah, buddy, we don't. There's the genes of the whitetails are not there, and also the environment, what they eat and things, it's just a little bit different. And this gentleman once again pulled his phone out and he said, well, I have 2 records on Boone and Crockett. And as he opened it on up, he showed me some deers that were just phenomenally large in size. And I asked this gentleman, I said, sir, I would in fact love to share your story here on the Fireside Chats. And he said, by all means. And he got this picture of this big monster bear with me with it, guys. And I'm telling you, at that point in time, I couldn't wait to make this Fireside Chat for all my folks that love the outdoors, that embrace the outdoors, that are definitely hunting and fishing outdoor enthusiasts. I know we have a lot of folks that follow us here that just, you guys love all of our talks and things about Christmas inflatables. But I definitely, guys, wanted to make this particular Fireside Chat for my folks elsewhere around the world and to show them what the old Cooner here saw that day. But guys, I'm going to end this Fireside Chat right here, just a very small video, and I thought it worth mentioning because it truly was what bad dreams are made of, folks. That guy right there, for folks that don't hunt a predatory animal, yeah, he will in fact come to do you damage if you're the hunter, if he doesn't eat you. But with that being said, guys, I say it all the time, definitely stay safe on the water, stay safe in the woods, and well, if you're roaming around the Alaskan wilderness, stay safe from those guys. And stay tuned here at the Crockett Coonhound Show, and myself and Scooter will have you guys another video dropping shortly. You guys have a great day.